Hey everyone, welcome to the stream, and hopefully that audio is coming through the right thing and it didn't stuff up like last time or was it the time before, whichever one it was. But welcome everyone to the stream. Hopefully that's muted. It is, okay, sweet. Hopefully everyone's having a good day, evening, most likely evening for most people, but I guess night as well. Wait, what time is it? Yeah, it'd be like evening or late afternoon at least, or night, I guess. So welcome everyone that's coming in. Hopefully you're having, as I said, a good day, good evening, or good night. Can I say your name, bro? Cookies. There's a name. But yeah, I guess like actually, I guess there's a decent amount of stuff to talk about, which we have a chat about through the stream. But I'm obviously excited because The Flash is back. I'm sure most of you guys are excited that The Flash is back. Starts in 3 hours, which is pretty good. 17 hours here. Does that mean 17 hours until you can watch The Flash, or is it 5 o'clock? It's like 1700 hours, like a 24-hour clock. When will you talk more about Reverse Flash, bro? You're awesome. Woo, woo, woo. I don't know. Is there anything to talk about in regards to Reverse Flash? I guess that's the big thing. Like, we could talk about it, but I don't necessarily know if there's any sort of proper content to say, if that makes sense. My friend thinks The Flash is a stupid show, so me and her boyfriend won't stop talking about it. Well, Elle, you're gonna steal the boyfriend? That's the big question. In your opinion, do you think Jesse and Harry will die? I don't know. It gets revealed in this episode, I'm pretty sure. I read an interview where they didn't confirm or deny, but they said that, I think, maybe not specifically Harry, but I think they said that Jesse's referenced multiple times. Something like that. So it's in, I don't know necessarily what that exactly means, but it's in tonight's episode. But yeah, just to start off the stream as we normally do, obviously try and be nice and civil in the chat. It's always appreciated if you do that. If you want to get your question 100% answered or comment 100% out, you can super chat by clicking that little thing in, little box thing there. I don't know what I'm doing there. Obviously that helps support the channel, and as I said, you'll get your question 100% read out and all that. And if you haven't become a member yet to the channel, you can become a member by clicking the join thing. You get some cool emojis. I'll spam the emojis there. Did I do two? I was trying to see if I did two of the same one. But you get some cool emojis if you do join the membership thing, and I think you get like a little emblem next to your name. I can't remember what the I think it's my channel emblem. I think it is. It's next to your name. Jessie won't. She's coming back this season. There's an episode titled "God Friend of Me," which is I've mentioned that in episodes, but she's not confirmed for that episode. If anything, she's unlikely to be in that episode because I think they were still filming her show. So yeah. But don't take that as confirmation. I've seen people going around saying, oh no, she's in that episode. I'm like, why? Oh, it's because the episodes are play on her show. I'm like, well, that doesn't really mean anything. Belante's done that before with other shows where it's a play on a thing from his past with something else on the show. So don't take that as concrete information. If anything, it's not even like a somewhat stable solution in regards to confirmation or anything like that. So don't look into that too much, because if you do, you might get disappointed. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying it's probably less likely than actually likely. Julian with the $2. Thank you much for that, Julian. Never watched Smallville. Do you recommend? If you have the time, I'd recommend it. Like, it has like legitimately like probably like 2 terrible seasons. Like, there's 2 seasons which I probably wouldn't rewatch outside of maybe like certain episodes. I'd say the rest of them, like, it probably legitimately has like 4 or 5 great seasons. 2 flat out I wouldn't recommend it or watch them again, and then like I think the other 3 are like decent. But yeah, I'd recommend watching it. I think it's worth watching if you have the time, obviously. Corey with the $2. Do you not see the wokeness affecting the CWDC shows? If you can define wokeness to me, Corey, then fair enough. Because I've always had this thing where I don't understand the thing about calling, like, you can use woke in like a sort of like a mocking way if someone's like trying to like virtue signal or anything like that. But being woke is just being like, I think it's an American thing. I might be wrong, but in Australia, like, no one goes around like using that terminology, because the definition of woke is pretty much just being like socially aware. Like that's pretty much like not going around using a racist term or anything like that and just being socially aware. That's pretty much what being woke is. I have a feeling it's an American thing. I might be wrong, or like an internet thing, like this whole woke thing. But I think a lot of people confuse woke culture with people trying to virtue signal. I can't deal with virtue signaling because it's just lying. And I think that's what people confuse it with. So in some cases, I think the CWDC shows and a lot of television do try and virtue signal. Like they'll try and push something that they have no real intention to either finalize in the end product, or they don't personally really care about, and they're just trying to appease a certain, group of people or a certain fan base or something like that. But I know I find it pretty cringe when people use woke as a sort of like insult, because I'm like, it's more of like a compliment for someone being a half decent human being. You know what I mean? So yeah. I can understand like people not liking. I don't even know what it means. Like, what do you mean by that? You might need to explain that. Like, I'm not having a go at you, Corey. I just might need you to explain what you specifically mean in regards to like what examples do you have? Because there's one example I have which I think they need to sort out with a specific show that I don't think is good at the moment, which might lead to bigger controversy going forward. But I don't know what you're specifically referring to there, so you might have to help me out. Doug with the $2. I wonder if Axel the Rat will be alive again. That'd be a big crisis change. I don't know if you want to do that because it might take away from the significance of that death, if you want to call it. Yeah, you can see the dog. Is he like my things in the way? Okay, you can just see him. I got like my little program where I stream from is there, and like my window just overlaps it, so I can't see like probably like from here onwards, so I can't really see anything my dog's doing on the couch and the screen. Who died? Did someone die? Oh, Axel? Are you talking about Axel the Rat? Axel the Rat is I know you got to watch Legends. Was he in any? No, he's just in Legends, wasn't he? Yeah. Is Iris from Da Future? I've been hearing a lot from people. In an interview, I think it was before the season started. I want to say it was before the season started, or like after episode 1 or something like that. Eric Wallace was just doing an interview and someone asked about like Iris being from the 30th century, and he said that and he said, yeah, we're going to do that. And then someone said, can you elaborate as to on it, or like when it's going to happen? He said, I can't, or like no comment or something after that. So he pretty much said it's going to happen, but he wouldn't specify when. Now, a lot of people are theorizing that could be the cliffhanger for this today's episode. That happens. I think it'll be something that probably happens this season. Whether they make it an effect, I don't know if you can really make that an effect from Crisis, unless I don't know. The biggest issue, if they did it, I would have no real issues with it. The only issue I have with it, actually, I don't mind if they did it if this one thing didn't exist on the show, and that's the fact that Joe is such a big character on the show. As soon as you make that whole thing where Iris is from the future, it's actually not Joe's kid or anything like that, you rip out that relationship completely. That's the biggest issue there, I think, with making Iris from the future. And I think that's the only thing, really, because I don't think her and Barry's relationship really gets that affected. It's really her and Joe's relationship. That's the only thing that really gets majorly affected by it. But it's a big thing, and I think it sort of like ruins certain aspects of the show. Maybe not in the past, but definitely going forward. Julian with the $2. That Arrow fight scene was the best of the series, no cap. Yeah, that Arrow, yeah, the series finale fight scene was great. It's like one of the longest we've had, like definitely since for a while, like in regards to like a one person sort of like rampage thing. So yeah. So has Iris been hiding it? She might not know. That's the big thing. Like, she might not know. The big thing is, like, Joe should know. You know what I mean? That's the only thing there. So it means that Joe's been lying, I guess. That's the only thing that could have happened there. That Joe knew that Iris wasn't his daughter, but was lying the entire time. Which I can, fair enough if you don't want to admit it. Or come clean about it. But Iris wouldn't have known, because in the comics she gets transported as a baby, so it's almost like a Kal-El sort of like Superman thing, except flying through space, it's like coming back through time. So yeah, like she shouldn't know. That's the big thing. Well, they could make it the Joes from the future, but I don't know if you'd have it that all these people came back from the future and everything like that. I think they'd probably just make it that Iris did. But yeah. Imagine Nora is Iris's mother from the future. Oh, I don't think that'd be a good thing. That'd be getting too trippy, like convoluted and everything like that. I think that'd be the best idea. Sorry, just let me fix something up here. Okay, there we go. Doom Patrol. I'm not too sure if that's in relation to. Does Barry have an iPhone or Android? We know Ray Palmer has an iPhone. I think they all had Windows phones from memory because they were like I think they were the Flash in season. I think it was 3 and 4. Actually, I think it's been since like season 2, and I think it's still going on. There's like a product placement thing on the Flash at least for Windows products. So like the Windows computers, and like the Windows phones, like the Window phone things. So yeah. Sorry, let me just scroll through the chat thing. Do you think Cisco will still have his powers? I'd have no idea. Can't wait to watch Birds of Prey. Very good movie. I'm seeing it again tomorrow. It comes out officially in Australia tomorrow. So it comes out... I'll be seeing it in 25 hours from now, pretty much. I'm going to like the morning session just trying to avoid crap, to be completely honest. But yeah, definitely go watch it. It's a very good movie. I think Iris has an iPhone. I think I saw her in this season at the Jitters. Yeah, I think they might have... Maybe that contract doesn't apply to the phones anymore. I remember it did for one season because they were always zooming in the people using their phones, and they'd always slide up and stuff like that. And you could tell it was a Windows phone, so yeah. Does Birds of Prey have post-credit scene? It has, like... I didn't see it, because I didn't get to see it in my thing. Got cut off, but apparently it has, like, a Deadpool type thing, but nothing major. Like, I don't know if you necessarily would need to stay to watch it if that matters. It's weird not having Arrow on. Yeah, it's weird. Like, I think people were, like, not like abusing me, but definitely questioning like, oh, how did you not find the finale more emotional? And I said this on Twitter, and I think I'm correct in regards to how I felt about it. I'm not saying everyone else, but and I'd be curious whether you guys agree. I think I like emotionally checked out of the show in Crisis. When Oliver died, I think I just emotionally checked out, and I don't think it helped having the backdoor pilot there, which I just didn't really care for that much. Like, I gave it a go. I think it was an okay episode, but I just didn't really care that much for it. So it felt weird. Like, having that... I think if the finale was the week after Crisis, I think it would have been more... invested might be the best way to put it. But I think... just the way in which, like, the Crisis thing happened, and then there was the... I think a lot of... Not a lot of people, but I think a decent amount of people would have also, like, emotionally checked out, because people seem to agree with me on Twitter when I said that. They were like... They probably had the same feeling when maybe they didn't feel anything during the finale of Arrow. And it's probably because they emotionally checked out in Crisis, but just didn't know it. But yeah, like, the finale, like... It was just a finale. Like, I just watched it, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's probably the best way to put it. Like, I just watched it. I want to see how it wrapped up. And also, I think the fact that Oliver was dead, it made it hard to be... once again, too heavily invested in the finale. Unless, I think, funnily enough, I think probably the people that were probably emotionally invested the most were maybe the Felicity fans, just because Felicity was back in it. That was pretty, yeah, you know what I mean? Sorry, I got another, so here we go. The Big Bang Theory from Sheldor with the $2. How many seasons do you think Superman could get? They're probably aiming, like, a lot of the shows that aim for a 4 to 5 season, depending on, I guess, the premise, but they're probably aiming for a 5 season. The actors would get probably a standard CW 7 season contract, just because, or a 7-year contract, but they would probably aim for a 5 season. But obviously it can go beyond that, but it's Superman. They probably try and lock down having the character on screen for a decent amount, so they probably would have, as I said, yeah, 5 seasons. I think 5 seasons, that's what they'll try and go for. Whether it gets there is another question, but that's probably what they're aiming for. Sorry, there's a plane going over the top, so hopefully you don't hear it. It's very annoying. So just let me do that. What do you think the next crossover will be? They said it's going to be small, but I think, big at the same time. So I think like the actual story will be small. It's not going to be this cosmic threat or anything like that. But it's also going to be, I think, involve either a lot of characters or it's going to have a lot of episodes. Like it could have the most episodes we've had. Like Crisis had 5, which is the most we've had in regards to episodes. But next ones, because you have Black Lightning and then Superman and Lois, you could have 6. So you never know. When does The Flash air? It airs in 2.5 hours. Well, 2 hours and 38 minutes to be exact. 7 p.m. Central. That's it. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. What does it mean for Nora and Henry if Jay Garrick's on Earth 1? Or Earth Prime, I think you mean. It means they're dead. They can't coexist. Well, at least we've been sort of told on, like Batwoman, they can't coexist. What does Earth 9 page you like? I know, it's probably part of the Titans. Maybe let's just say I'm Nightwing. Let's just go with it. Is it illegal if you stream it from here? What's in that relation? What's in that reference to? You might have to let me know. What are your thoughts on Stargirl? I hope they fully cross over. I'm looking forward to it. I like Stargirl in the comics and everything like that. And the JSA in general. In regards to crossing over, I guess it matters what they want to do. There's a potential there that they could just do this massive crossover with all the DC Universe things, the CW things. It all matters about, one, contracts is a big thing. Money is a big thing. And also just, I guess, rights and where the crossover airs as well. But yeah, like it's possible, and it's all under Berlanti. The only thing that wasn't under Berlanti was Swamp Thing, and that's gone. So, yeah, anything's possible now. Like really, it's actually cool I got to use Swamp Thing because it wasn't under Berlanti. But yeah, like in the Crisis End thing. But yeah, like everything's under Berlanti, so he could make it work. Will I join the Mia Smoker fan club run by the DC TV show? I don't stand Mia, I only stand Donna Smoke. Donna Smoke is the only woman for me. I'm sorry to tell you. I know that might be disappointing news, but it's the only... I have to tell the truth. Do you know if Lady Arrow got ordered? I can tell you this. It's pretty much confirmed. So, a lot of people have been wondering about the Green Arrow and the Canaries and asking about it. I can tell you this. It's pretty much confirmed, relying on one big factor, and I don't think I'm allowed to actually say the factor is, just because I think only a couple of people would know, so I don't really want to lead like a breadcrumb and expose someone, but yeah, it's pretty much confirmed outside of one big factor, and the big factor I think is actually something that a lot of people might be able to predict, based off social media interactions with certain people. So I know that's a weird clue, but some people might be able to figure that out. But it's a big factor. It's the main factor. You're right there, moving around all the time. But yeah, I'll leave it as that. I'll be interested. I can say this: if this big factor is the reason is going to, play out and not allow the show to happen, we should know in the next month. That's pretty much the thing to take from it. So in the next month, we should have some news if that big factor is going to play into everything. So yeah. Hello, Ruben. Welcome to the stream. Will Mia and Nora know each other in the future? Well, I don't know. I have no idea. Elijah might have been able to catch onto it. So Elijah, feel free to investigate more, because I think he just hooked onto a good old big fish there. A big scoop, if you want to call it. How did I come up with the name Pagey? It's literally my nickname. It's what people called me at school and what my mates called me, so yeah. Can you please answer my question? Are Barry's parents still alive or the same before Crisis? They are dead. Or at least Nora should 100% be dead. Henry could, but Jay Garrick and Joan Williams are confirmed alive on Earth Prime. So it makes no sense. You can't really have two there. They sort of like made that... like, at least Batwoman said that they can't coexist. Did you know Donna Smoke left because even her actress hated the character? Mate, the actress that played Donna Smoke apparently was so rude. I heard from this is at a convention in England. I don't know what one it was over there. I guess one of the ones where they do the meet and greets and stuff. And she was like I think like they did like a meet and greet where people pay to like sit down and talk with the actors. And they were asking like her about like other cast members, and all she wanted to talk about was Felicity and Emily Bett Rickards, and so it was really weird. Like fair enough if that was Emily Bett Rickards and she was talking about Felicity and stuff like that, but it was just the actress that played Donna Smoke, and then she was just being really rude to the point where I think this is what I've been told at least, and multiple people have said this, where Stephen Amell had to take her out the back, not do anything violent, but just say like, look, can you stop being a bit of a bitch? That's what people have said. So, and that's multiple people. So. I'm not surprised that she didn't return outside of that season 5. Was that like that one quick scene in season 5? Oh no, it was season. When was Invasion? Because that was it, wasn't it? That was it was Christ on Earth X, which was season 6. When was that? When was Christ on Earth X? That was season 6. Yeah, season 6. That was So. Yeah, because that was the wedding. Yeah, because the wedding gets crashed by the Nazis, and then at the end, so season 6. Yeah, that she's in that one like quick scene in season 6, and that's I think the last time we saw her since then, and also I think it was the first time we'd seen her since like season 4 or something. The Big Bang Theory with the $2. Thank you very much. The Big Bang Theory Sheldor. By the way, stay safe in the fires. Love all you do. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, the fires are still going. Like sometimes just random smoke in the morning, and then sometimes it's just normal. It's pretty crazy. It's still going on. And then Gary, go on with the $2. Thank you much for that, Gary. Paige, do you have a sister? I have 2. I have an older and a younger sister. To answer your question, and Michelle Alexandria with the $2. Thank you very much for that. Greatly appreciated. Thank you for supporting the channel. Cam McNamara seems lovely, but her acting, it's been questionable since her early Shadowhunters days. Well, I don't know, because on Arrow, she hasn't been very good at acting, but people have said on Shadowhunters she was okay. So, I've never watched it. I don't really have any intention to watch it. I have really no desire to watch it. But I usually take people on their word. So, I'd heard she was okay on Shadowhunters. But yeah, on Arrow, she definitely didn't present the best case as to say, look, I can act. Harry Wells can't be alive with Wells on Earth Prime. I think they explain that on this. I think this episode tonight, I'm pretty sure, or in the next couple of hours, I'm pretty sure has like a lot of explaining. So a lot of questions that people have, they will reference it to where it might be, brought up in the later episodes in more detail, or they'll just flat out explain in the episode. I'm interested to see what they do. After party tonight with Eric. Yes, from what I know, we should be doing it. I'd assume we would. I don't think it'd randomly get cancelled now. Episode 14, The Death of the Speed Force. Your thoughts? It could be the death of the Speed Force. I think they're going to integrate the 2 arcs of Perfect Storm, because there's a thing in the comics that just went past, which was Death of the Speed Storm, which had different things. So I think they're going to integrate Perfect Storm and that together to create a 2-parter, rather than anything like too intense, if that makes sense. But I'm excited. Episode 13 and 14 should be good, especially with 14 with Wally coming back as well. If you were cast as one of the Justice League, which would you choose? I'd always like the Flash would be the best because you're super fast, but I guess you'd maybe go Batman because then you're rich at the same time as well. I don't know. There's sort of like a couple decent amount of stuff to think about there. Who's Wally? Like where's Wally? I guess Americans call it Waldo. Like where's Waldo? In Australia, it's where's Wally. So like I don't know. It's where's Waldo in America, isn't it? I don't know. In Australia, it's where's Wally. Like that's the book. The guy that wears like the red and white beanie and like the red and white shirt or sweater, whatever you want to call it. I think it's called Where's Waldo in America, but in Australia, it's Where's Wally. So I remember like hearing like Where's Waldo in like a TV show, and I was like, what the hell's Where's? I thought it was like a ripoff. I thought it was like a ripoff. Like they couldn't actually use the name Where's Wally, and I looked it up and it's like, oh no, they're just I guess weird and they call it Waldo. it's Where's Wally in the UK as well. I don't know, is like Waldo like a weird word in like Britain and Australia? I have no idea, but yeah, it's Where's Wally in Australia. It's Walter. Where's Walter? I don't know, maybe they just changed it to fit the country. That's a bit strange. Anyway, a bit funny at the same time. The Big Bang Theory Sheldon once again. Next crossover villain predictions: real Brainiac. Well, they said it's going to be smaller, so obviously it's not going to be cosmic, and I guess Brainiac falls into that cosmic thing because he's cosmic, like an alien. So I'd probably say I'd love if it is some sort of multiversal stuff, like they explore the multiverse again, and maybe it's like an Injustice League sort of thing where it's like an evil Flash, an evil Supergirl, or an evil Superman, an evil Kryptonian, whatever it might be, like a evil Batwoman or evil Vigilante type like that. I think that'd be a cool way to go about it, like an evil Black Lightning, various things like that. I think that'd be a cool way to go about it. I know Crisis on Earth X was sort of that, but it wasn't that at the same time, so I wouldn't mind if they went down that route, and then maybe do another cosmic thing the following season, whatever that might fall about. You know, I think that'd be cool. What do you think will happen in the Flashpoint movie? Do you think the CW Flash will appear? I'd expect so. I'd expect though. Do you think Oliver should come back to life if Stephen Amell ever wanted to come back for a couple of episodes, like a crossover? If he wanted to, I don't think if you bring him back to life, I think you just do like flashbacks or like multiverse stuff. I think that'd be the best way to do it. My phone is on 7%. That's an L. It's a potential L if you don't get it on charge. What was this down here? Gary with the $2. Gary with the $2. Thank you very much for that. Is this Diggle last time popping up in the Flash? I don't know if we should treat it. I don't know if it will be, but I think we can treat it like that. I think they might have like a fun thing where they might, almost treat it as like a farewell. I'm intrigued to see what they do with Diggle and Barry. What do you want about Timmy Turner? Did I get a question about Superman? Here we go. Darth Sidious with the £2. Timmy, don't be a smartass. Darth Sidious with the £2. What are the new Superman show details? Yeah, I was going to jump into that in a second. I just want to because we usually stream about an hour and a half. Let me just bring them up. I'll start in a second. Let me just... Actually, I had it... Where was it? It was... Let me get them up in a second. So I'm not going off the top of my head. Prefer not to. Here we go. Let me bring that up. I'll come back to that in a second. Okay, there we go. I'll just answer a couple of questions before we jump into that, because I'm sure people have questions about the Superman thing. What do you think about Ezra Miller, and how do you think it will affect the CW shows, etc., etc.? Don't know if it affected that much. I think it's just cool that it's all in one thing, if that makes sense. Paige, what's the website for military folks where you can watch shows around the world? It's it's not shows around the world. It's American TV from anywhere around the world. It's ustvnow.com. So not ustv.now, ustvnow.com. I think you have to make an account. I think people said that. I've had it for so long, I can't remember if you had to make an account to watch it or not. Oh yeah, by the way, don't expect any Green Lantern Diggle. If people have been trying to clickbait that and stuff like that, don't expect that, because it's been made clear like over the past week or two that this Diggle that's appearing in Flash is before the funeral. So it's before he gets the ring. I think I haven't watched the clip, but people were saying in the preview clip, without spoiling what it actually says, it says that like it's a week until the funeral, like a week until he's meant to go to Metropolis. So yeah, it's a week until he gets the ring, pretty much. So yeah. But I will read over the Superman and Lois details for those that haven't read. I might be able to try and hold on. Let me try and do this. I might be able to put it up on screen in an easy way. Let me get that. So give me 2 seconds to put it up on screen, because this might be better, so you can actually get a glimpse of what I'm referencing here. So let me just put that on the desktop. Close that. Let me add an image. Image. Browse. Why does this always go slow when I get to this point? Here we go. Okay. Okay, it's going to be blocking my head, but hopefully we can... Make it a bit bigger. Okay, there's a. I'll go over here. Okay. Oh, that's not. There we go. That's better. There we go. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see that. And we can read it. So it just says some random crap above it. It just says like it stars Tyler Hoechlin. It's, we had this shows in the past and blah blah blah, and crisis happened, blah blah blah. Then it says, as the series opens, Lois Lane is still working at the Daily Planet, but Clark Kent has just been fired following a massive layoff plan at the Journal. His father, Jonathan Kent, is no longer with them because, as we should all know, he dies. I don't think they'd do another Jonathan Kent death on screen. While his mother, Martha Kent, is living alone on the farm where he grew up in Smallville. They have twins, Jonathan and Jordan Kent, who are 13 and very different, both physically and otherwise. Jonathan is the popular one, an all-star athlete who's about to enter the varsity team, while Jordan is more introverted, anxiety-prone, and very much into computers and video games. They don't know who their father really is yet, and they may or may not have inherited their powers, or his powers. Lois's father, General Samuel Lane, is in the picture and knows about Clark. Lana Lang is also a big part of the show. She's a banker, still living in Smallville, with her husband Kyle Cushing, a firefighter, and their daughter Sarah, who's 14, and younger Sophie, who's 8. They are in a dark place. Kyle is a drunk, and Sarah tried to take her own life a year ago. And yes, Superman has an enemy in this version of the story, who appears as the Stranger in the pilot. His true identity is revealed at the end of the episode. So, I think that sounds pretty interesting. A lot of people have been, not a lot of people, but some people have been saying, "Oh, is that like a really bloated episode? That's a really bloated story." Most pilots are fairly bloated. Like, why isn't that letting me? There we go. I should be able to. There we go. I'll just leave that like that for now. So if anyone wants to be able to read it, they can. Most pilots are fairly bloated. The Stargirl stick thing is like an old man. Like it takes me 2 seconds to block a channel. It takes me 2 seconds, so I know why you'd bother. I think it has potential. I think the interesting thing is that they've gone with like a whole thing where like a child has committed suicide, like a teenager's a teenager like tried to commit suicide and everything like that, and they're going to focus on that. I'm assuming she's probably going to be a friend of one of them. I'm trying to think of what one of the twins, maybe Jordan, of those two twins, that is it Sarah, the young girl who tried to commit suicide, might be a friend of one of them, and that's how they intertwine that story. I am surprised that Lana Lang's in it because she was in Smallville, so I'm surprised they do another thing. We have Clark, Lois, and then Lana's there, so I'm surprised they would do that. It is very Smallville-esque, where it's almost like Smallville Next Generation. I don't know if anyone, I'm sure there's people here that have like heard of or watched like Degrassi, but like I haven't really watched it. I remember it used to be on like one of the free channels in Australia when I was younger. But I remember they did like, there was Degrassi, and then they did Degrassi Next Generation, where like a lot of the kids from the original Degrassi were the parents, and their kids were the new kids going to Degrassi, like the high school. So this almost seems like Smallville Next Generation, where it's not the same actors from Smallville, but it's the same characters. And then, like they got kids that are going to the same school and stuff like that. So obviously Jonathan and Jordan Kent aren't going to Smallville High in this, but I'm assuming that they move to the Smallville, the Kent farm in Smallville, and they go to school there. I guess that's what's going to happen there. I'm intrigued by it. It's definitely not the show I was expecting. I'm not going to lie. Definitely not the show I was expecting. However, I'm excited to see how it goes. I am excited to see how it goes. Who would be the big bad? I don't know. Like the Stranger. It could be anyone. I'd count out Lex Luthor. Like definitely don't expect Lex Luthor. But like I wouldn't want this, but I could see someone like Zod or something like that. But when it's like the Stranger, like a mysterious person, like who could it be? We gotta remember this is a Zod in canon in the Arrowverse. Like Superman's fought him. Like Zod's this old enemy of Superman. So would it be a new enemy that Superman's never fought, or is it someone that he would know that maybe going under a different look or alias or something like that? I'm intrigued. We did get some super chats, so we'll just quickly answer them before we jump into complete questions about if anyone has any specific questions about this. I'll say if you've got any questions about Superman and Lois, ask them in a second, so you can let me know. Phantasm91 with the $5. Thank you very much for that. Since Jay and Jonah on Earth Prime and the multiverse has been rewritten, does this mean Henry and Nora's characters should change for continuity? Not necessarily. They could just make it that they got spouted out onto Earth Prime, because that happens in the comics as well. Obviously, then in the comics, technically Jay Garrick isn't Barry's father's doppelganger, but they're sort of going with the comics in regards to that. But I wouldn't say that continuity's changed. I wouldn't say that. The big thing is that it sort of rules out at least Nora being alive. And I think if we go off Batman logic, or the Batwoman logic, sorry, from what they're doing, Henry shouldn't be able to exist, or Henry and Jay would be battling for existence, or battling to coexist. But yeah, I wouldn't expect any Henry or Nora stuff, or at least specifically Nora, because Nora is important to Barry's journey as well into becoming the Flash. She's too important for his journey, so I don't think that'd be able to change, and for him to still be this similar Barry that we've had throughout the throughout the show. So I don't think it's possible. What's next? Joseph Smith with the $10. Thank you very much for that, Joseph. Pagey, go YouTube channel. Thank you very much for that, Joseph. Thank you for the compliment and the generous super chat or donation, what do you want to call it. Thank you very much for that. Gary with the $2. When does Flash come on your time? For me, it comes on at midday. So 12 midday. That's when it comes on for me. And who was the other? I can't see that one. Big Bang Theory Sheldon. Let me just scroll up and try and see it again. Big Bang Theory Sheldor with the $2. See the new Flash sneak. Also, will Dig die? I don't watch the sneak peeks really, unless like they autoplay on my Twitter or something like that. But it's pretty rare they go up there. And will Diggle die? No, because you got to remember that's pre-funeral, so he survives because he goes on to go to the funeral and then leave for Metropolis. But yeah. Eddie Thorne back. There's changes like I know there's going to be changes. I got sent like screenshots of one of the I didn't watch it, but one of the preview clips where it shows like that villains have changed and stuff. And I think from what I know, the promo clip says like, or the preview clip says Top, Rainbow Raider, and Eden Core. I think there might have been one more change due to Christ, like they have either new traits or abilities or powers and stuff like that. Eddie Thorne, maybe they should let us know in this episode if he's alive, like if the events from what we knew didn't happen. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see what they do there. What's my dog's name? His name is Cal. 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 He's too sleepy. He doesn't want to get up. Yeah, too sleepy. Sorry, let me just make sure that's all gone down there. Okay, sweet. But if anyone has any questions about the Superman and Lois show, let me know in the chat. I'm intrigued to see what you have to ask or what you think. How are Jonathan and Jordan 13 years old? Just crisis change, I guess. They got aged up. Obviously, you never know. This show could take place 12 years in the future. I highly doubt that. I think it's just been a crisis change where they're older. But yeah, I think it's just something there where they're older. Would you like to see a Spectre CW series? Probably not, to be completely honest. Quick final prediction from Dr. Smarty Pants with the $2. Thank you very much for that. New actor playing Cold is in Captain Cold? I don't think so. I think if Captain Cold comes back, it'll be Wentworth Miller, the guy that played Leonard Snart. I think it'll be him. I'm intrigued to see if they do the whole thing where those rogues have the actual metahuman powers rather than just using weapons. So Captain Cold actually has like ice powers. I think that'd be cool. It might be a bit expensive, but I'd like to see it. Where'd that go? Here we go. Okay, well, Timmy Turner's obviously asking for a block, so there you go, Timmy. There you go, Timmy, you asked for it, you got it, I guess. It wasn't too hard. It takes me 2 seconds. It must have taken you, I'd say 15 seconds to type that up. Maybe 30 because it didn't look like you could spell that well, so yeah. What 2 seasons of Smallville do you think are bad? It's towards the end. I think it's the Doomsday season I'm not the biggest fan of, but I think that's one of the meh seasons. I haven't rewatched Smallville in a while. I know there's just 2 seasons which aren't very good. Um, I'd have to look through them and look at the plot quickly, but one's definitely in that last like 3 or 4 seasons. One of them's definitely in there. I know that for a fact. Flash Reborn with the $2. The best YouTuber I'm inspired. The best YouTuber I'm inspired. I'd love a shout out. Well, there you go. Flash Reborn. There's your shout out. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Hey, Paige, do you come from a land down under? I do. Depending on where you live, I guess I could technically be above you. I think if you're from New Zealand, technically I'm above you. Am I going to see New Mutants? I'll go see it. Am I excited about it? I'm sort of like just in that grey area. It's like New Mutants and like Morbius. I'm in like the same area. I'm like, I'll go see it. I have really no expectations. You know what I mean? I am excited to hear that like New Mutants, is just going with the original vision though. That's sort of what it sounded like. So I'm sort of excited about that because there's not too much of a change there. Captain J10 with the $5. Thank you very much for that. Funny how Diggle picks up the box like nothing. Isn't it supposed to be super hot? If Arrow and the Canaries doesn't get picked up, what will they do? Will they do another spin-off? First on the Diggle thing, yeah, like would you really just go pick it up? It just came crashing out of the sky, so a bit suspect, but anyway. And if Green Arrow and the Canaries doesn't get picked up, will they do another spin-off? Not like this season. So, one thing that doesn't help Green Arrow and the Canaries was Superman and Lois getting picked up because they probably want a show to replace Arrow, and Superman and Lois came in, so that didn't help. If Superman and Lois didn't exist, Green Arrow and the Canaries probably would have been picked up before their backdoor pilot. But if it doesn't get picked up, they won't do another spin-off at least until like another year and a half from now. So like this time next year, they might be like about to film another pilot for another DC show, but I wouldn't expect it. They've always said that they don't want a ridiculous amount of DC shows on the CW. They do want a variety of content, and it's not like really the only CW show which goes, hey, look at me, I've got a lot of views, is Flash. All the other ones, maybe outside of Batwoman and sometimes Supergirl, they're the only ones that's like above the norm. Like there's still like Supernatural, Riverdale, and another show there. I can't remember what the other one is, that actually above like Legends and Black Lightning. So they would. There's like not like it's like the DC shows like the top 6 shows all the time. Like maybe 2 or 3 of them are in that top 3 or 4. Do you think Iris is up to something? Well, she's up to something. Whether it's overly shifty or not is for us to find out. You excited that Iris has possibly been replaced by future Iris? Well, I don't think it's necessarily that she's been replaced. I think it's more that she was just always there. I don't think they do anything where she's replaced. I think that might be a bit of a storyline that could go sideways very, very quickly. Gary with the $2. Will Flash have a lot of breaks for the back half? There's a break after, I think we have like 3 or 4 episodes, and I think there's like a 1 week break, but I think there's something on. I don't know what it is. I think there's actually something on. It might be a holiday in America or something like that. There's a break, or it might be even like in Canada or something like that. Oh no, probably America if it's broadcast. Because this week, like Supergirl and Batwoman aren't on for 2 weeks in a row because there was the Super Bowl and then there's the Oscars next week, so they're gone for 2 weeks. I know there's a break for Flash. I think it might be after I think it's after like 3 or 4 episodes when we come back. There's a 1 week break for Flash. I don't know specifically after what episode though. I wouldn't be able to tell you at the moment. I have to have a look. Dr. Smarty Pants with the $2. Would you want Flash to make it to season 8? It should make it to season 8. I think I've always said this. I think the Flash was always going to match whatever Arrow did. The Flash could go on for as many seasons as, I'm not saying season 30, but it could go to like 11, 12, 13 if it wanted to. I don't think it will, but if it wanted to, because it has that comic book history, and there's still a lot of villains that they haven't used, and there's still villains being created right now. Like really, this season, they're literally using villains for both the first half and it looks like maybe even the back half that were only created like 2 or 3 years ago. So if the comics still keep producing out, I guess, villains that they can use in an interesting way for the show, then the show could keep going. It just matters if Grant Gustin wants to stay. He's the only one that matters. Anyone else could leave on the show, and the show wouldn't like not skip a heartbeat, but it wouldn't really like stop the show like and halt it, like as if like Oliver leaving Arrow or something like that, or obviously the Flash leaving the Flash, like Grant leaving the Flash. So he's the only one that needs to stick around, because they can just kill off a character if they want to leave or write them out or something like that. Will Barry and Iris ever break up? I wouldn't expect it to. they haven't really been able to sell Tyler Superman as being powerful, considering he's meant to be a more veteran Superman. He hasn't even been there. I've seen people say that, like, oh my god, he hasn't really done a lot to prove that he's a good Superman. It's like, if you think about it, he's been in two. Like, I don't even count that finale of Supergirl as a finale, as an appearance. So he's been in 2 episodes of Supergirl, Elseworlds for like half of it, and a bit of Crisis. He's hardly been in the CW. It's just because he's actually been there for a long time in regards to when he was announced. He was announced at the beginning of season 2 of Supergirl, which was, what, 2016? 2016, I think. So he's been there for like 4, I guess like going on 5 years, but he's been in like 5 episodes, 6 episodes. He's hardly been in the actual universe when you think about it. So he actually hasn't had that much time to actually prove himself, because every single time he's been there, he hasn't been the focus. Like, the only time he was the focus was when he was evil Superman, like the John Deegan sort of Superman. So I think once he actually gets time to actually be his own hero, I think you actually change a lot of people's opinions, because I think he's a good actor. I think he's a very good Clark Kent, and I'm excited to see him play like a fatherly Superman. I think that's why they've made this show, because I think they know he would suit more of that fatherly Superman role. Gary with the $1, thank you very much for that. And Thomas with the $2, where is it? Thomas with the $2, Thomas Halbert. Chances of a new red tornado on Superman and Lois. Maybe, I don't know. I never really thought of it, to be completely honest, but maybe. Yeah, I guess maybe they could have done that if they wanted. They could do that if they wanted to. Just matters if they go for like that physical version in Supergirl season 1. I wasn't a big fan of. It looked really weird, but the CGI one was okay in Crisis on Earth X, but it might be expensive to do, and I think it looked decent because it was in like darkness. It wasn't in anything too bright. If Grant left Flash, it would be like when Michael left The Office. I think it'd actually be worse, because in that show you actually had like established characters that could have actually taken over from him. It was just more the writing wasn't very good, but like I think having the Flash without the Flash, and they haven't been able to set up Wally well, I think it would struggle. So I'm just looking through the chat. Do you think Zoom will ever return? I don't know. Well, there's that thing where they never really confirm whether Zoom died or something in that on that whiteboard and the promo images and stuff like that. So maybe, who knows? Do you think there'll ever be a Ginger Wally? The Wests are black. I don't know why people keep asking, is there going to be a Ginger Wally? The Wests are black in the Arrowverse. There's probably going to be a Ginger Wally on Titans, but I wouldn't expect it. If you expect it on the Arrowverse, you might be waiting a while. How do I watch Flash at 12 p.m? I'm in Australia at 2 and usually have to torrent download if I want to watch it early. As I said, I stream it on ustvnow.com. That's the website. Can we talk about where Godspeed and Reverse Flash are? I don't know where Reverse Flash is in regards to Godspeed. I'm assuming we'd get that revealed at the end of this season, or throughout this back half of the season, sorry. Was Oliver's death emotional for you? Sort of. Like, it wasn't like overly emotional. I don't think anything really towards the end with Oliver was overly emotional. Like, it was definitely emotional, but definitely not like heartbreaking or anything like that. I think it was just nice. That's probably the best way to put it. I think it was a fitting ending. But as I said, I think I emotionally checked out in Crisis due to all of that. From all that build up and everything like that. And I think it was a fitting ending. Like, I think that's why I don't think the finale really worked. Because outside of that fight scene, I think everything with Oliver just felt meh, because all the good stuff was in Crisis. And I know it would have been a hard job for them to do that. I don't even know how they would have done that finale different. The only thing I could think of is that the finale was before Crisis. So episode 7 was the finale. Yeah, this big thing on Lian Yu, and then maybe the memorial and stuff for Oliver is in part 5 of Crisis. You know what I mean? I don't know, the finale got no ratings. I don't know if anyone saw that on Twitter. The finale got like 0.74 or something for the finale, which is super bad for a finale. Like, usually with finale, you get a lot of people coming back just to watch it live. And like, I've always said that like the CW doesn't rely on the live ratings too much, but that's pretty bad for a finale. Like, Supernatural's finale will probably get a lot. Like, it'll probably get like a decent increase from its previous episodes. So that would have been an interesting thing. Like, do you think that would have been interesting if they did, say, Arrow's season, maybe the finale is episode 8, and then episode 9 of Arrow, if you want to call it, is just in crisis, and it's when Oliver dies. And then you have part 5, which is dealing with this new world, and then you have the Oliver memorial as well. And you have like a really packed last part. I think that probably would have worked better than what we got, but they probably wanted to fit in the backdoor pilot there. So I don't know. I personally think that would have been better having Crisis as like the proper farewell to Arrow as a show, rather than having 2 episodes of Arrow afterwards without Oliver. Do you think we will ever see Batman from Earth Prime? Probably. We'll probably see Bruce Wayne from Earth Prime. I think they really wasted this season with the Mia setup. If the backdoor pilot doesn't get picked up, then they 100% wasted time. They should be ashamed with themselves. Like, honestly, they should be disgusted with themselves because they really ruined 2 episodes. I will stand by that episode 4 and 5 of Arrow this season. I'm not going to say are bad, but they're definitely not good. Episode 4 and 5 are not good episodes of Arrow. They're actually pretty poor. And it's because it's all this like teenage angst with non-teenagers. Like, William's 30-something. And there's all this teenage angst. And like Mia's like early 20s, like 22 or something. Or 21 or something like that. So it was very annoying having all that stuff in episode 4 and 5. And that's what made Mia unsufferable. And that was really bad writing. I don't think that was necessarily on Catherine McNamara. It was just really bad writing. So what Marvel show on Disney Plus are you excited or interested to watch? I'm excited for WandaVision. I think I'm curious on WandaVision because I think it's going to be like kooky, if that makes sense. I think kooky is probably the best way to put it. But it could be one of those shows where it's like either too kooky that it's a bit like it's not easy to watch, if that makes sense. But I think it has the potential to be the best show on there, but it also has the potential to be the worst. But I also think that Falcon and the Winter Soldier has the potential to be the best, but also be the worst, because it could try and be a Watchmen-like show where it's very political because of especially what's going on in the show, and then not work, and then people don't like it. Or it could work amazingly like Watchmen did and be a really good show. I think Loki's that show that will just be good. I think Loki will be good because I think it's going to play with time. It's going to be interesting, like something like that the Marvel stuff hasn't really done before. So Loki, I think the show that'll be guaranteed solid. But I think both WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier have like a really high potential, but also a really potential fail area, if that makes sense, if they don't nail it. Not necessarily they don't nail it, but it's definitely if they go and try and do too much, people might be like, I don't like this sucks. You know what I mean? But yeah, but all those shows have to be shows. It's actually interesting that all those shows that are coming out, I think all of them come out. No, I think Loki comes out next year. I think Falcon, Winter Soldier, and WandaVision come out this year. Those all 3 shows that have been that are already started filming. What are you doing? All 3 shows that are coming out that have already been announced and we saw in that trailer should be shows, but it's actually funny. I think all the shows that are coming out like next year and beyond could all be movies. You know, like Miss Marvel could easily be a movie. Moon Knight could be a movie. She-Hulk could easily be a movie. What other ones have been? Are those the only ones that have been announced? Is there another one I'm missing? I think those are the other 3 that have been announced. Is there another one? Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk. And then there's that like What If, I think. I think those are the other ones that I don't know when that What If show comes out. But all those could be movies outside of What If. It's She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Hawkeye. That's it. Well, Hawkeye, I don't know what's going on with Hawkeye. Hawkeye could be a movie. Yeah, Hawkeye, but I don't know if anyone would watch it. That's the big thing. I think that's why they probably made them shows. So the only one which I think might have been warranted maybe giving it a movie was maybe Miss Marvel. But even then, because maybe it's a teenager, maybe they didn't want to do that, and it's like a young teenager as well. So I don't know. But Hawkeye, I don't even know what's going on with that. I don't even know what's going on with that one. Did I answer your question, Dr. Smarty Pants? Okay, Dr. Smarty Pants with the $2. Did the Bebo thing make things too silly in Crisis? Yeah, it was a bit silly. Like it fit in because it was Legends, but I think if you were just a casual watcher who maybe only watched Flash and Arrow, Flash or Supergirl and Batwoman, sorry, you might have been like, what the hell is this? And it ate up a lot of time. Like, they could have done something different. As I said, like, that part 5 could have been like the final battle against the Anti-Mono. Then the last half is a full-on memorial to Oliver. And then you rule out episode 8 and 9, or those last 2 episodes of Arrow, where, as I said, it was 2 episodes of Arrow without Oliver actually alive. And it felt like, I don't want to say it was overkill, but it felt like, as I said, I had emotionally checked out in Crisis. So just watching those 2 episodes of Arrow just felt like added viewing without a need for it, if that makes sense. What will Legends do when Brandon Rath leaves? Well, he left in October, so they were up to like episode 8. So there's half a season of Legends without Ray Palmer or Nora Dark in it. So I think Nora Dark comes back for the second last episode or finale. I know that Legends wrapped this week. Legends is finished. They've wrapped their season. Thoughts on Godspeed in season 5? He was trying to steal stuff. I didn't understand. What was there? Any thoughts? It wouldn't surprise me if he came back. I think that would play out that random thing at the beginning, because they sort of said like there was all these different clones and stuff. So yeah. Can I live stream Flash? No, because I don't want to get my channel taken down. Where's Ryan Choi? I think he might have moved into apartment 4. I think they might have needed an occupant of that, especially on Earth Prime. So I think he might have moved in there. I'm not too sure though. Do you think Kara and Kate could carry the crossovers in the way Barry and Oliver did? Probably not, but I don't think they actually are aiming to do that. I think that's just that's meant to be like the relationship. I don't think they'd necessarily need another pair to carry it. Oliver and Barry did it before because they were sort of like the foundation of it, while Kate and Kara aren't the foundation. They're add-ons to this universe, while Barry and Oliver were the foundations and everything built from them. So that's why it was so important, their relationship. Well, I think Kate and Kara are just another friendship. They're just going to play off each other like Barry and Oliver did. What do you think about an Arrow movie? I'd love a Green Arrow movie. Hopefully Birds of Prey is successful. Black Canary's... Oh, yeah. I know she's good in it. And I'm interested to see who they'd cast as Green Arrow. I'm sure they'll move ahead, especially following box office results. What's up with Superman? If you can still see it on screen. So on screen, right... If I can click it, why isn't that letting me do it? So on screen right there is the pilot sort of synopsis sort of thing with the characters and stuff for the Superman and Lois series pilot. So those are all the characters that will be in the pilot, and just a sort of like an explanation on certain things that's going on. So it's like a grouped up synopsis of the series as well as the characters as well. I can't believe I thought I took that off. I don't know why I was up there for so long. But yeah, so it's there. I'll leave it up there for another couple minutes so people can read it if they want to, and then I'll take it off. Bloodwork reference. I'm not too sure what you mean by that, Jose. Like in this episode, maybe I'd assume they might. Could Kevin Conroy be Red Death? I think he's a bit too old to play Red Death. I don't think they'll do that. Do I think we're going to get the Tornado Twins anytime soon? Probably not. I don't know if they want to do Tornado Twins. They could do some weird thing from the future. Maybe they wanted to, but I don't know if they'd do it. When is the next Flash episode airing? In just under 2 hours from now. 1 hour and 56 minutes. God, I've been streaming for an hour. This has gone super quick. So I'm just scrolling through the thingos. Stephen Amell in the Green Arrow movie. No. I've always said this. Like, people always have a go. Like, oh my God, Stephen Amell played Green Arrow really good. I'm like, he played the version of the CW's Green Arrow very well. And I've always said this. The CW's take on Green Arrow and Oliver Queen was an Elseworlds take. Like, it wasn't very much like the comics. It was different for a reason. They wanted to be different because the Smallville take was closer to the comics, and they wanted to be different from the Smallville take. So if you're expecting the Green Arrow movie to be like what Arrow was, you're going to be disappointed because Green Arrow is a different character. However, I did like the Elseworlds take. I appreciated the Elseworlds take because it was trying to be something different, and that's why I liked it. However, was I craving maybe some more Green Arrow-esque stuff? Of course, but I knew that would eventually happen. I expect DC to eventually make a Green Arrow movie or a Green Arrow DC Universe show with maybe Black Canary or something. Oh, not DC Universe, HBO Max. But yeah, I don't know why people still cast him. Actually, I'm not gonna like say it like in an insulting way. I'm just assuming it's just because you don't know Green Arrow in the comics. So it's different. I can understand if you want Stephen Amell in that role because you really liked him in Arrow, and I can completely understand that. I liked him in that role as well. However, it was a complete Elseworlds take. It wasn't what Green Arrow is. And it was meant to be like that darker and edgier take on the character, which is, I like that change up and I appreciated it. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say there. But I don't know who I would fan cast as like a Green Arrow in the movies. If he was younger, I'd say the guy that played Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones. Like if it was him when Game of Thrones started, like he could still play it now, but I think he's 50 years old, the guy that played Jaime, and like you'd want one that's like could be Green Arrow for like at least maybe a decade and recur in that role. And maybe when he gets to 60, he might not be in that shape or like be able to do that. So you maybe want someone that's like 30, like you could say younger, but I'd say anywhere from like maybe around their mid 30s to 40s or something like that. I know a lot of people fan cast like Charlie Hunnam. I could deal with it. I'm not the biggest, like I don't think I'd die on my sword on it. Die on my sword. Does that mean proper, like a proper terminology or proper English? I've sort of gone off it. Like I was a fan of it at the beginning, but I've sort of gone off it because I don't think he seems that keen on it. And like even like I think Travis Fimmel would be better, but I think he's like 40 years old. I'm sure there's someone like I would never cast Journey Smollett Bell as Black Canary, but she killed it. So go the casting director. I trust what the casting people do, and you never know. Like who would have cast like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man? Who would have cast Chris Hemsworth as Thor? Who would have cast Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman? Zachary Levi as Shazam, and all this like really really good castings, but no one would have picked them. No one would have picked them. Like maybe Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, maybe that's a big stretch. But like, I'm not a casting director. I can't see all the things going around. I know what the director would want and everything like that. So yeah, I want a young Eobard in the Legends episode. I wouldn't mind that. I thought that would have been cool if they did that in season 2. I think it would have been maybe difficult to do in a Flash episode, but Legends definitely allowed that to be a possibility. Unfortunately, we didn't get it. It would have been cool though. The guy who played Jaime in Game of Thrones, if he's in shape, well, that's the thing. I think he'd probably be in shape right now. The issue is that he is 50 years old, and probably the Green Arrow movie might not come out for another 2 years or 3 years or something like that. So, you know, and then I'd probably want him to play it for like a decade or something, or at least have the chance to play it for a decade. So I think maybe it might be a bit too old. I'm not too sure though. What was this? Okay, wait. Okay, don't worry. My screen was sort of glitching. Travis Fimmel and Catherine Winnick. I think the thing with Black Canary is that, like, I don't know if Catherine Winnick can sing, because the take that they obviously went on in Birds of Prey as well is, if you've read New 52 Black Canary, it's like, not the whole thing's based off that, but it's definitely, I think, like, aesthetically, and I guess what they're going for, at least for the start of her, it's definitely like the source of inspiration. So if you've read New 52 Black Canary, that's a Black Canary who has literally zero connection to Green Arrow. They've never met. I think from memory, I think Rebirth tried to like explain that. But in New 52, they sort of like had no connection at all. And that's sort of what they're going for there. I don't know if they'd base the story off that, like with, you know, Green Arrow and her past and stuff like that. But I'm interested to see what they do with that character in Green Arrow going forward, because as I said, I would never have cast her, but I think it's a good take, because I know people like don't like the whole race thing, but like Black Canary is like a really typical like blonde white girl with blonde hair. Like I don't think it really matters. It's not like some sort of like the whole, I know there's like the whole redhead situation where like pretty much every redhead in comics gets race bended outside of like maybe ones that are like regionally connected, like from Russia or somewhere where maybe there couldn't be like a person of color or something like that. But as I said, I think she's good in the role. I'm excited to see what they do with the thing with Green Arrow though. Is I think it's got a similar situation to like a Batman Bruce Wayne thing, where it's a billionaire, rich, like sort of spoiled kid. I don't think you can really race bend that. I've seen people like trying to like cast like once again like whether it be like a mixed race actor and stuff like that. I think it falls into the same category as Batman, where I don't think you can really race bend Oliver Queen, because the whole sort of like thing of his story is that he is this like rich billionaire playboy, son of a rich family and stuff like that, big fortune and stuff. I think it works better if they're like, if it's spoiled and stuff, if they are like that typical, Caucasian Anglo sort of character and everything like that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see who they cast. As I said, I don't really have any solid predictions outside of maybe Jaime from Game of Thrones, but I don't think that's going to happen. Stephen Amell almost wasn't Oliver Queen too. That's coming from Naruto with the $2. Is that like in regards to like the casting thing? Because I remember watching an interview like a couple of years ago or something where they were talking about that, where like I think they were thinking someone else, and then he went in for an interview later. Like he wasn't even like the first round of interviews or auditions and stuff like that. Who is the big bad of the Flash this season? I have no idea. What was the last? When was the last time you spoke to a CW actor? I don't think I've ever. I've spoken to Manu Bennett and Katie Cassidy, but that was like in passing, like a couple of years ago. Well, not even a couple of years ago. That was season. Before season 2. Is it the before season 2 or after? It was like it's like either between the break between season 1 and 2 of Arrow, or after season 2 of Arrow and between season 3. I think it was between season 1 and 2. I think this was between season 1 and 2. Just trying to remember from memory. What about casting the Daredevil actor Charlie Cox as Green Arrow? I don't think he could play it. You gotta have like sort of like a smugness to it. You know what I mean? Like not a smugness, but definitely like a bit of like a charm to it. I don't think he'd be able to play it. What happened with Chester Runk? He's meant to come back, like sort of like be relevant in the back half in some way, shape, or form. I noticed he's in like a Star Wars ad or something, and I noticed on one of the Super Bowl ads, I don't know if anyone else noticed this. Some of you might have noticed it, but there's an ad with Post Malone, and he's like in a just like a shop getting a drink, and they go to like his head where there's like people fighting over what to choose and stuff. One of the people on the computers is Mona from Legends of Tomorrow. I was like, oh, what the hell? When I saw it, I was like, is that Mona from Legends of Tomorrow? And I went back and watched it online, and I was like, oh yeah, she's one of the people on the computer. I was like, okay, that's random. That was super. I don't know if anyone else noticed that. Final season of Flash should be Barry traveling through time trying to hunt down the reverse. I don't know if you'd want Barry traveling through time. I think it sort of goes against his own thing. I think you'd want Reverse Flash as the end villain, but I think they could do it in an interesting way. A very, very interesting way. A very, very interesting way. He auditioned for the lead on Spartacus like 2 days before getting cast as Oliver Queen, did he? That's interesting. I had no idea that was the case. I guess he'd fit like that whole Spartacus mold, what they're going for. You did notice that Mona was there? Yeah. Did people bully the Mona actress of Legend of Tomorrow? I don't know if they necessarily bullied her. I think they might have convinced the writers. I have no idea if she's in the rest, like in later in this season or not. I have no idea. Her exit is super random. Like it's just like, oh, I'm leaving. By the way, bye. I'm leaving. Okay, what the hell? But thank you to Reddit for that $5 as well. I just randomly read it your super chat without saying thank you. Thank you very much. And Thomas, I read something along the lines of the producers seeing Stephen Amell and cancelling interviews for the other people because he was the guy. Yeah, I think it was what it was. Like I think they did like 2 or something interviews, and then he came in for that day, and they just sort of stopped it because they thought he was perfect for it. How I Met Stephen Amell? No. If you had to guess, where would you say Bruce Wayne is on Earth Prime? Probably in a forest somewhere. I don't know. Climbing a tree. I'm not too sure. Gotham vs. Arrow series finale. The Arrow series finale was better. Gotham Gotham should have been two episodes. It should have been 2 episodes. It was way too rushed to the point where it was just like, what's going on here? It felt like, because it was rushed, it felt like sloppy fan service. Like, they did nothing with the Joker. I couldn't believe how, like, they did nothing with him. What website to watch shows? ustvnow.com. That's the website. Just type in USTV Now in Google and you'll see it, I guess. Gwendolyn with this with the $5. Thank you very much for that. Do you think there will be some major changes to any of the characters and or their personalities on Flash because of the changes within the multiverse? I'd be interested to see. Like, Iris is definitely one. It looks like maybe not like a major change with her, but it definitely seems like we're going to see the fallout from her dealing with Crisis, which wasn't, which might give us like a bit of a different character than we're used to. Cisco, maybe, depending on changes. Apparently Wally's meant to be fairly changed. I don't think Barry will be changed that much. It might be more like just seeing us seeing it play out, I guess, with the characters dealing with the Crisis change. I think that might be what it is. I might take that down. There we go. Why is that? There we go. Okay. Something was really weird then. It's all fixed. What the hell is going on here? There we go. Okay. My streaming software was being super weird for a moment there. Okay, there we go. Eric Wallace saved the Flash. He's definitely doing. I've seen people saying like they hate what Eric Wallace is doing. I'm like, how could you hate what he's doing? Like, he's literally doing what Kreisberg was doing. So the big issue with the Flash for a while was, since Andrew Kreisberg was fired from the show, it's lacked sort of like a good feel for the show and someone that actually knows the comics and everything like that and knows what fans want. And since he's come in, he's killed it in the best way possible. And I'm excited to see how he does the back half of this season, because I think he's done a really good job. I can't wait to see what he does. And like, everything that's been teased and sort of set up gets me super, super excited. What DC TV show will be the next to end after Arrow? I'd probably say Legends. But I said that, you know, I thought Legends would make it into season 6, and they're getting a season 6. Why was Andrew Kreisberg fired? If you just look up Andrew Kreisberg fired, you'll be able to find it. Actually, I may as well say he was being very inappropriate around female and I think even male crew members and cast and stuff. The only cast member that I know of that was sort of affected by it, there probably was more, but the only one I know of was Katie McGrath, who plays Lena Luthor on Supergirl. From what I know, she was one of the people affected by it. I think that's the only one that's like sort of like well known. Like, the other ones are sort of like question marks whether they were affected by it. And it wasn't anything physical from what I know. It was all like verbal stuff. Like, it was just really weird comments, like stuff you wouldn't, like really just weird comments. That's the best way to put it. God, I've been streaming for an hour and 15 minutes. I'll probably stream for another 5 minutes and I'll wrap it up. So I'll just answer a couple of final questions that anyone might have, and then I will wrap up the stream. So feel free to let me know why won't Legends go off and die. I don't know. I think Legends is like one of those weird shows which could just keep going. It could just be one of those, like, that dark horse that just keeps going. What do you think they'll do with Bloodwork? I have no idea. They might bring him into this season. I have no idea. Where is Red Death? Maybe with Ryan Choi in Apartment 4. I don't know. I cannot confirm or deny that, though. That's just a rumor going around at the moment. Jacob, you literally asked that question, like, you answered it. I'm assuming that means you had it copied and pasted. Where is Ralph? I don't think Ralph's in tonight's episode. I think he's in the episodes to come. Thoughts of Jessica Chastain's Reverse Flash in the movie? That's been proven as a lie. The person who put that on Reddit has been posting crap. Oh, by the way, yeah, that the guy that put the Jessica Chastain's Reverse Flash thing on Reddit is the same guy that made up the Green Arrow post-credit rumor for Birds of Prey. So if you want some connection there in regards to his past, in regards to bullcrap, there's one. And I think he made up something about Joker sequel stuff, yeah. Thoughts on HBO Dr. Manhattan? I think they did a pretty interesting thing with it. I think it's hard to do Dr. Manhattan on TV, but I think they did the best they could. What are your thoughts on the cast for Matt Reeves' Batman? I think it's okay. Like, I've seen people go, like, oh, it's the greatest cast in the comic book movie ever. I'm like, it's okay. Like, I'm most excited for, like, Joe Truglio, whatever his name is, as Falcone. Paul Dano as the Riddler, I think, is a really good casting. Robert Pattinson, I think he's a good actor, but sorry to knock my mic. I don't really see him as Batman, but sorry, I had to sneeze. It was building up for like 5 minutes and it finally came out mid-talk. But yeah, like Robert Pattinson as Batman is... I'm fine with it. Like Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, I don't fit it. I think she fit Poison Ivy. Like I remember when she was connected to the movie, I was like, okay, she'll be Poison Ivy. And then it was Catwoman. I was like, oh, okay, odd choice. I don't really see her as Catwoman. I definitely don't jinx coronavirus because who knows? I probably could have it. But Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, I think like, yeah, like I don't really see it. I think I see it as more like a Poison Ivy. Colin Farrell, let's say Penguin. I guess it could work. It's weird casting. Some of it is weird casting. Like, I think Jeffrey Wright's a good idea for Jim Gordon. A lot of it is out there casting. I don't think it's like amazing casting, but it's weird casting that could work. You never know. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. But it's definitely not like, I wouldn't even say it's like top 4 or something in regards to anticipation for movies. For DC stuff. I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad 2. I know a lot of people aren't. I can't wait to see what that movie does, especially because I think it's going to be a bit out there and it's got like a really good cast. I think it's going to have a lot of twists and turns and stuff like that. So I'm excited for that movie. Obviously, The Flash, I'm excited for. Black Adam, I'm sort of only interested in Black Adam because the JSA's in there. So that's the main reason I'm sort of interested in that. Like, I don't mind Black Adam as a character, but I'm not like overly like looking forward to it. The thing that makes me looking forward to it is the JSA. Shazam 2, Aquaman 2. What other movies are coming out? I think that's it in regards to ones that have been confirmed. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but yeah. Hey Paige, where can I donate to help the Australian fires? I've literally got a donation in the, the description thing, which is to help the koalas. That's like probably the one that's maybe the best one to donate to. Did I answer your thing? Oh no, Matty B Custom with the $2. Last season have Reverse Flash v Flash last battle. Yeah, pretty much. He won the Reverse Flash being Flash is like the last season. That's probably the best way to go. Is anything with Arrowverse Green Lantern confirmed? Not from what we know. When do you think they'll introduce the big bad? I'd say in the next 3 or 4 episodes. They might try and get through this opening post-crisis arc and then move into the villain, but they might have a big tease at the end of this episode. Who knows? But yeah, I'm actually going to end the stream now, guys. We've been streaming for about an hour and 20 minutes. I'm going to go probably have some lunch and then get ready to watch The Flash. So thank you to everyone that tuned in. Thank you to everyone that super chatted to help the channel out and everything like that. I'll quickly answer Dr. Smarty Pants with the $2. Sorry, could The Flash get more movies if it's successful? The answer, yes. There's the answer. I don't know how many movies. I'll tell you a trilogy. Let's say a trilogy. But thank you to everyone that watched. Just had a chat and everything like that. If you want to join the live chat while watching the shows tonight, you can join my Discord. And everything like that. And there's a live chat option there. You can talk to everyone while the Flash is on and everything like that. And yep, so I'll catch you guys later. Thank you for watching and goodbye.